In this video, I will discuss signs that you should be alert for, which may indicate that you're starting to develop schizophrenia. That's why it's very important that you continue watching until the end of this video, because it could literally change your mental future. Schizophrenia is a chronic and complex mental disorder that affects the way a person thinks, feels, and behaves. It usually starts in adolescence and early adulthood. Although it can also occur at other life stages, this condition can be quite challenging and significantly impacts the affected individual's daily life. The symptoms of schizophrenia are varied and can differ in intensity and type, but generally they fall into three main categories: positive symptoms, negative symptoms, and cognitive symptoms. Firstly, the positive symptoms. These include abnormal perceptual and sensory experiences such as hallucinations, hearing voices, or seeing things that aren't actually there, delusions, false or warped beliefs that are often of a suspicious or grandiose nature, and disorganized thinking can hamper logic and coherence in speech. Second, negative symptoms. These represent a decrease or loss of mental and emotional functions that are typically present in people without the condition. This might include reduced emotional expression, lack of motivation, difficulty initiating and maintaining activities, and trouble with social interaction. Third, cognitive symptoms. These can impact the ability to concentrate, remember things, and make decisions. People with schizophrenia may struggle to understand information, interpret it correctly, and use it for decision making, which can hinder their abilities at work, school, or in their everyday lives. The exact cause of schizophrenia is not entirely known, but a blend of genetic, neurobiological, environmental, and psychosocial factors contribute to its development. Factors such as family history, alterations in brain structure, and exposure to early life stress might contribute to an elevated risk of developing this condition. So consider carefully when you are going to stress about something in your life. Think very carefully. Is it really worth expending energy on this? The diagnosis of schizophrenia is primarily clinical and is based on the assessment of symptoms, medical history, and physical and neurobiological examinations. There are no specific laboratory tests to diagnose schizophrenia, but they usually follow certain criteria listed in the DSM, Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. The treatment of schizophrenia often involves a multifaceted approach. Antipsychotic medication is often prescribed to help reduce positive symptoms, while psychotherapy can help in understanding symptoms. In developing social skills and managing stress, occupational therapy and community rehabilitation programs can also be beneficial in enhancing functionality and quality of life. It is crucial to highlight that with suitable treatment and ongoing support, many people with schizophrenia are able to lead productive and satisfying lives. Family involvement, access to support resources, and seeking professional help are crucial steps in managing this incredibly complex mental condition effectively. And besides the most recognized signs of schizophrenia, there are some signs that you might gradually notice, which is why it's very important for you to pay attention to this part of the video. Agitated or catatonic behavior. This might include repetitive movements or rigid posture, motor disorganization, or odd or incoherent behavior in movements. Changes in self-care, extreme neglect of personal hygiene or appearance, impairment in thinking, speech, or shifting from one topic to another without any logical connection. Unusual beliefs, adoption of strange and superstitious beliefs, thoughts of persecution, having the feeling of being chased or watched. You have to be very careful with this one, as it's a serious issue. Physical symptoms, insomnia or changes in sleep, trouble sleeping or drastic changes in sleep patterns, difficulty controlling movements. This may include tremors or involuntary movements. You might even confuse this with Parkinson's, but there's a small difference. Emotions and feelings, emotional instability, sudden mood changes or intense emotions, distrust or paranoia, feelings of distrust towards others. You believe everyone is going to kill you. These signs can vary in their severity and frequency, and they are not unique to schizophrenia. They can exist in other mental health conditions or situations. It's crucial to seek professional guidance for a proper assessment. Only a qualified mental health professional can accurately diagnose schizophrenia, and we have to pay a lot of attention to the mental aspect, especially after seeing that sadness from the pandemic. We are now beginning to stabilize. Currently, we are at a level of stabilization, but only because people started spending more time at home. This mostly affected the youth, teenagers, and children. It took a massive toll on mental health, especially on mental health. That's why people today are much more sensitive. It's much easier for you to make someone sad. It's much easier to deceive people. Why? because social contact, not much social contact, but minimal social contact allows you to create shields and barriers against the manipulation of the world and people. Sadly, there are many people in the world that I believe you may know who suffer from narcissistic disorder. And with the pandemic, there was a lot of increase. Now there are more narcissistic people than ever before. The moment a person starts being alone in their room, something that happened a lot during the pandemic, you'd agree that during the pandemic, people were at home quite a lot, and those who already had some narcissistic tendencies began to embrace this. They began to fall in love with themselves, that is, putting themselves first in everything, in beauty and power. These individuals tend to deceive others to benefit themselves from another person, and unfortunately many people died as a result of the impact of the pandemic. But a lot of people were left with mental health issues. In fact, everyone. There's a little bit for me too, because whether we like it or not, everyone went through this turmoil. That's why we have to be very careful with our mental health, which is really important. Sometimes we think, I'm going to pay attention to my body, the physical aspect, but no, you have to take care of the mental aspect. This is what matters the most. I would like to ask you to subscribe to this channel, because I promise that in each video you will learn something that will turn some kind of switch in your head. Thank you very much for staying until this point in the video. Here I am going to provide 3 links. The first is for you to schedule a consultation with me, which is very important. I'm sure you didn't come across this video by chance, or maybe you felt some things about schizophrenia. Feel free to schedule a consultation with me, or maybe you know someone, a family member who is going through this. You can also hint that this is very important. It can save lives. The second link I think is essential, which you should do right now. Just follow me on Instagram. This is where I post more content like this on a daily basis with tips, motivational stuff from psychoanalysis. I think it's very important. I wish I had watched content like this when I was going through mental conflicts. And the third one is my digital book called Eliminate Depression with Simple Daily Things.